Ethan was just a boy when he met Max. His world was silent after losing his father in a car crash. His mother, grieving and tired, worked 2 jobs just to keep the lights on. The house was full of echoes, but not laughter. Ethan spent most of his days by the window, watching the world outside move on, feeling stuck inside a place where time felt frozen. One rainy afternoon, Ethan's mother took him to the local animal shelter. Not because they could afford a pet, but because she hoped Ethan might smile again. Just once. The shelter was loud. Dogs barked from every corner. But in the last kennel, quiet and calm, lay an old golden retriever with sad, knowing eyes. "He's a bit older, but he's gentle. Good with kids," said the volunteer. "His name's Max." Ethan didn't say much. He just crouched down and looked through the bars. "Can I pet him?" The moment Ethan touched Max's head, something passed between them, something unspoken and immediate. Max pressed his nose to Ethan's hand and wagged his tail, slow and steady. That day, Ethan didn't just bring home a dog. He brought home a best friend. Max became Ethan's shadow. When Ethan cried at night, Max climbed into bed and laid beside him. When he got bullied at school, Max waited at the door, wagging his tail like Ethan was a hero. Birthdays with no gift still had Max. Christmas with no tree still had Max. Laughter returned to the house, not all at once, but in small, healing doses, usually when Max did something silly, like chasing his tail or barking at his own reflection. Ethan started drawing again. He drew pictures of him and Max going on adventures, pirate ships, rocket ships, even space. In every world, Max was there. As the years passed, Ethan grew. And Max, though always loyal, began to slow down. His fur turned white around the muzzle. He stopped jumping on the couch and preferred quiet naps by the fire. Ethan was a teenager now, struggling with school, with self-esteem, with the weight of becoming someone. But no matter what, every day after school, Max waited at the door. "I used to think heroes wore capes," Ethan whispered once, hugging Max tight. "But mine has paws." Max grew sicker. His walks became shorter. He'd pause often, looking up at Ethan with tired eyes. Ethan pretended not to notice. Pretended it wasn't happening. Because how could he face the world without Max? One night, Max didn't get up to eat. His breathing was heavy. Ethan stayed awake all night, lying on the floor beside him. The next morning, the vet gave the words no one ever wants to hear. "His organs are failing, Ethan. He's in pain. You have to think about what's best for him." Ethan couldn't respond. His throat closed. Max rested his head on Ethan's lap, those old eyes still full of trust. No fear. No questions. Just love. "Please, not yet," Ethan whispered. "Please, just a little more time." That evening, Ethan carried Max up a hill behind their house, their favorite spot. They used to run up that hill together, chasing butterflies and hiding from the world. Now, Ethan placed a blanket on the grass and sat beside him. The sun was setting. The sky was painted in gold and pink. "You saved me, Max," Ethan said, his voice breaking. "When no one else saw me, you did." Max looked up one last time and licked Ethan's hand, once, slow and full of meaning. And that was his goodbye. Ethan buried Max beneath that tree. He built a small wooden cross and carved the words, "You were more than a dog. You were my heart." The days after were the hardest. The house was quiet again. But this time, it was different. It wasn't empty. It was full of memories. Ethan found tufts of fur under the couch, a worn tennis ball beneath the bed, and claw marks near the door. Each one hurt. Each one healed. Years passed. Ethan became a man. One day, he came home holding the hand of his young son, a small puppy trailing behind them. His name's Max, he said softly. I had a friend named Max once. The best friend I ever had. And the laughter returned to the house. Paw prints decorated the floor again. But in Ethan's heart, the original Max still lived, buried under the tree, in every wag, in every bark, in every act of unconditional love. Some goodbyes are forever. But the love? That never leaves. Max left behind more than fur on a couch or scratches on a door. He left behind a boy who learned to love, because one old dog refused to give up on him. And sometimes, when Ethan walks up the hill, he swears he can feel a tail brushing against his leg and a familiar nose nuzzling his hand in the wind. This was Max's final goodbye. But his story? His story lives on.